Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us this morning for the World Skills Jamaica National Skills Competition. My name is Julia Smiley Green. I am the Director of Marketing and Communications at the Heart and Estate Trust, and I also carry the title of Communications Officer for World Skills Jamaica. It will be my pleasure to take you through this morning's proceedings for our press launch. And I'd like to take the opportunity to acknowledge Mr. Wayne Robertson, Chairperson for the Stakeholders Interface Committee of the Board of Directors of the Heart and Estate Trust and Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. I want to acknowledge Dr. Tanisha Ingleton, our Managing Director at the Heart and Estate Trust, and CEO and official delegate for World Skills Jamaica. Mr. Dwayne Bent, technical delegate for World Skills Jamaica and the director principal for the Southwest TVET Institute. Mrs. Stacey and Kane Davis, technical delegate assistant for World Skills Jamaica and senior programs director. Senior directors of the Heart NSTA Trust, directors, regional directors, and other team members, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, and our virtual audience who have joined us live via YouTube at our handle Heart NSTA Trust. Welcome and thank you so much for being here with us this morning. And without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to invite you to stand for the playing of the national anthem. So much. You may be seated. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you may be wondering a little, why are we here this morning? Why have you taken time from your busy schedules to be with us at Heart and Estate Trust and World Skills Jamaica? And I just want to use this opportunity to tell you a little bit about why exactly we've invited you here today, to look at World Skills and that movement that we are now promulgating across the country to ensure that we are using skills to transform the lives of our people and to drive our economy. Since its inception in 1950, World Skills has built an impressive presence on the world stage of vocational education and training, demonstrating global excellence in skills through its biennial international skills competitions and promoting the importance of a strong skills system for every country or region. Now, the World Skills Movement, ladies and gentlemen, has membership of over 85 countries globally, including some of our G20 countries. And it is said that World Skills actually impact 2/3 of the world population. Jamaica is now entering its 20th year as a member of this movement, and we would have been preparing competitors across our system in Heart and across the educational system in Jamaica for national competitions that would have taken place since 2003. We have also had the privilege of ensuring that these national competitors who would have come out as champions represented the country on the world stage in 7 competitions thus far. And these participants would have gone to countries like Finland, Japan, the UK, and Russia. And most recently, we would have had the special edition competition that took place in 15 cities across the world. Jamaica participated in 3 of those countries in October 2022. We would have had representation in Bordeaux, France, in the skill areas of mobile robotics and drywall and plastering systems. We also had representation in Cleveland, Ohio, in the USA, in the area of welding, and we competed in optoelectronics in Kyoto, Japan, in October of last year. So that, ladies and gentlemen, give you a little idea of why we're here, what this movement is all about, and how we are envisioning how we're going to transform lives through skills development. And what we want you to do as we go through the morning's proceedings is to also think about the impact that this will make on the country and the role you can play in supporting us for this national movement as individuals and also as collectives, whether from your various ministries, departments, agencies, or private sector companies, because you will be hearing from us in the months ahead as we encourage you to come on board with us to assist in ensuring that when we get to international competition next year, Jamaica will be fully represented in keeping with our standards here in Jamaica. And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to invite CEO and official delegate for World Skills Jamaica and our managing director at the Heart NSTA Trust, Dr. Tanisha Ingleton, to tell you about the strategic direction of the trust and just how the World Skills movement is aligned to that.
The Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's leading human development agency, is committed to advancing technical, vocational education and training and preparing the workforce with the requisite talent to drive the economy. Unleash your passion for skills today and build a future that will enable you to unearth limitless opportunities. Come to Heart for emerging and future skills that will catapult you to greatness. Find a skills pathway today. Where there's a skill, there's a way.
Skills pathway today, where there's a skill, there's a way. What do you think is the most important factor that is driving the world's economies? It is not multinational corporations. It is not infrastructure. It is not technology. It is the skills and education that we all have as individuals. I want to pull your attention to the most recent LinkedIn data. That data shows that the skill sets for jobs have changed by around 25% since 2015. And by 2027, that number is expected to double. That means that your job is changing, even if you are not changing jobs, just as business demands are changing, even if you're not changing your business. My colleagues, skills are the currency of the future, and there are going to be some specific capabilities destined to replace official qualifications or educational pedigree in value to employers. It is already happening across the world, where skills is being ranked higher than experience or academic qualifications. When employers are looking to hire, recruit, and promote, they are uniquely focused on skills. So our focus and investment on skills and training for an enduring human capital will not only enable social mobility, but will future-proof our economy. And that is what we're looking to do at the Heart Trust NSTA. How can we future-proof the economy? And it's not only by training individuals to contribute to economic advancement, but we want to train individuals to accelerate and sustain economic development. The Heart Trust was established, as most of us know, 40 years ago in 1982 by former Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Edward Seaga. And it was conceptualized to satisfy the demand for solutions to the persistent problem of underdevelopment and brain drain in the country. So let's focus a little bit more on the mandate of the trust, because it is important that Jamaica understands what we were established to do. We were established to provide persons trained for employment in the technical and vocational fields. We were established to provide employment opportunities for trainees, to assist in the placement of persons seeking employment in Jamaica, and to equip and provide finance to persons who, after training, require assistance in establishing a trade or business. Now, of course, as any organization, across 40 years, the role of the trust expanded, and this expansion started in 1994, and the Heart Trust became the Heart Trust National Training Agency. So changes included the establishment of the National Council on Technical and Vocational Education and Training, NCT-VET as we know it. And today, the trust boasts 26 wholly operated training institutions and has partnered with the private sector and community groups to establish over 80 community training interventions. In 2019, the evolution would have continued. Heart Trust NTA was merged with the National Youth Service, an organization most of us know was established in 1973 to equip youth with the necessary life coping skills to foster their personal and career development. And of course, the Jamaica Foundation for Lifelong Learning, formerly known as JAMAL. The JFLL was established on November 5, 1974 to improve the literacy skills of the adult population of Jamaica and enable them to participate meaningfully in the social, economic, and cultural development of the country. Now, with the merger, the Heart National Service Training Agency, the S in the NSTA, that service component was born. And so you would agree with me that Heart, from its inception and throughout its 40 years history, was positioned as a key economic and social development driver and a game changer for the Jamaican workforce. For 40 of Jamaica's post-independence years, Heart has been at the forefront of national productivity and development in all sectors. And we all know the 807 Garmex-free zone in the 1970s and 1980s to the growth of the tourism industry. Today, we boast our very own training hotel. The trust develops the workforce through various media. We have institutional-based training, apprenticeship, community-based training, enterprise-based training, and the assessment of prior learning. Importantly, the trust uniquely responds to the global and national imperatives. So let us take Sustainable Development Goal 4. This speaks to ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong learning opportunities for all. How is it that we have responded to that? Across the 2019-2022 period, and we're going recent because we would have done so much work in the past, the trust graduated some 19,300 trainees. 19,300 trainees in emerging areas such as digital animation, printing and graphics, geomatic and geospatial services, web page and website designing, business administration, industrial electronics, network engineering, general construction, tractor operations and maintenance, systems administration, allied healthcare, human resource management, and electrical installation. I think the trust would deserve a round of applause. Now, we are preparing trainees to re-energize industries with the talent required to drive our economy and to meet the demands of not just the workplace, but the hybrid workplace. We're also focused on some core transversal skills, including leadership, management, cultural awareness, communication, and in some spaces we refer to them as employability skills that will make our trainees fit and ready for work. Now let us examine how we are responding to the global imperative of the fourth industrial revolution. Our current and developing training environment is utilizing disruptive technologies to prepare our trainees for the modern way of work. We would have been involved in intensive forecasting and have partnered with international players as well as local industry experts to offer training and certification in virtual welding, Mr. Bent, digital construction, mechatronics, optoelectronics, mobile robotics, industrial automation, and renewable energy. What a trust. Let us examine Vision 2030. Now, this speaks to a Jamaica that is internationally competitive with a high level of human capital development and essentially a place where we can live, work, raise family, and do business. In responding to this, the Trust has increased its services to youth at risk. You would agree with me that Jamaica's safety, Jamaica's productivity, and Jamaica's competitiveness partly depend on how well its most vulnerable citizens can find meaningful employment. So unattached youth, particularly those in volatile communities, they need access to quality training. They need access to certification and other services if they are to break the cycle of being disadvantaged and be integrated into the labor market as skilled, productive citizens. By providing youth at risk with the right training and development opportunities, the Trust is equipping them to participate in the economic and social life of their community. And so what has the Trust done? 35,000 at-risk youth were enrolled for the 2022-2023 financial year. And we will be relaunching, come February, our National Service Corps residential camps, engaging approximately 960 unattached youth. As it concerns another national imperative, the National Investment Policy, Jamaica is positioned as a major player in the global investment community in a bid to achieve economic growth through sustained development. The Trust is responding to these policy directives through its support for the micro, small, and medium enterprises. The Trust continues to build the resilience of these entrepreneurs through training and capacity building, grants, and technical business advisory services. The Trust supports established MSMEs, trainee startups, and the Rural Youth Economic Empowerment Program. Colleagues, approximately 50 million in grant funding has been earmarked to support MSMEs in collaboration with the Jamaica 4-H and trainee startups. So essentially, we examine how the dynamics between employers and employees are changing. We look at where the jobs of the future will come from, and we seek to ensure that enough workers have the right skills to do them. And the framework that we use to advance our work is dubbed the Triple Access Strategy. And so we have priority 1, which is enhancing the quality of training and certificates towards improving Jamaica's global ranking in the quality of skills. Now, some of you may not have known, but Jamaica is ranked 36th of 141 countries in respect of quality TVET. In some spaces, and you can clap for that, in some spaces, that is good. But we recognize, and that is according to the Global Competitiveness Report Index in 2019. That's the latest report in terms of a wide global survey. So whilst we're at 36, which is good, Because 36 is saying our economy is booming. It is saying that we have less unattached youth on the street. And it is saying that we are reaching an equitable space in terms of social mobility. But whilst that is good, our aim is to move up that index. We are therefore placing emphasis on certifying Jamaicans in labor market driven and emerging skills and the facilitation of decent work. And as at December 2022, the Trust certified 30,495 participants. Yes, man. Many of them who will get e-certificates, and 6,784. And I want to note that number of 6,784 persons will be placed in decent work. What a trust. To improve the likelihood of success, the trust would have strengthened its regional leadership, TVET leadership. We have strengthened advocacy, research innovation, and the benchmarking of best practices. And the second tier on our triple access strategy is increasing services to youth at risk, and I would have spoken to that already. And the third tier is strengthening the TVET ecosystem. And so to do this, the Trust has focused on strengthening industry partnerships, embracing a multi-agency approach to service delivery, strengthening TVET integration in the general education system, business support, and placement services. And that leads us to world skills. As I said before, skills are the currency of the future. And we can future-proof our economy by raising the profile and the recognition of skills and skilled people, and showing how important skills are in achieving economic growth and personal success. So Heart is proudly the home of World Skills Jamaica. But Heart is not World Skills Jamaica. World Skills Jamaica is led by a National Advisory Council, of which I'm privileged to be CEO and privileged to be the official delegate for World Skills Jamaica. But that National Advisory Council has expert support of industry experts, academia, and government. We therefore have representation from the Ministry of Labor, the Ministry of Education and Youth, the Caribbean Maritime University, the Ministry of Investment, Industry and Commerce, JAMPRO, among others. Today, we are launching our national skills competition in preparation for the international competition that will be held in Lyon, France, 2024. We see World Skills as an excellent opportunity, as a catalyst to promote skills, to showcase skill standards and careers, to demonstrate benchmarks of excellence in teaching and learning, and also a way to break down this false dichotomy that we continue to advance of positioning skills as a second rate to traditional academic careers. It is not second rate to traditional academic careers. Academics and TVET are not mutually exclusive. And the same kind of rigor that it takes to advance in medicine, it's the same kind of rigor that it takes to advance in the fashion industry, in precision agriculture, in agro-processing, in robotics, up to electronics. All of these are stemming from the TVET vein. So let us understand how important it is for us to change that narrative and to help individuals to understand that we can use skills to leverage and generate income. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ingerton, for setting the context for us so beautifully and showing our audience just how World Skills align with what we do at Heart NSTA Trust in fulfilling our mandate of human development. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure by now you can appreciate that World Skills is a big deal. And it is something that we're taking very seriously here at World Skills Jamaica, because we have aligned our operations as well to World Skills International, where the vision is improving our world with the power of skills. The mission is to raise the profile and recognition of skilled people and show how important skills are in achieving economic growth and personal success. And of course, we want to ensure that people appreciate Jamaica as a global hub for skills, excellence, and development. So when you think of World Skills Jamaica, World Skills International, I'm encouraging you to think of words excellence, diversity, innovation, integrity, transparency, partnership, which is what all of you are here to be a part of with us this morning, ladies and gentlemen. And we have our technical delegate, Mr. Dwayne Bent, and his technical delegate assistant, Mrs. Stacy and Kane Davis, who are with us. And they're going to be taking us now on a journey towards the national skills competition as we prepare for international competition.
Thank you so kindly, Mrs. Smiley Green. A great morning to you all, ladies and gentlemen. The pleasure is ours to share with you the plans for Jamaica's participation in the 46th staging of the World Skills competitions. But just a bit of fun fact before we get into the meat of the matter. A World Skills International Skills Competition is usually named after the city that will host it and the year it will be held. The next competition will be held in Lyon in the year 2024. Hence, the name is Lyon 2024. And I think we all can check under our chairs for 2 tickets to Lyon 2024. Just kidding. Lyon is a city in the south of France that is known for its historical and architectural landmarks and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It promises to be a spectacular intervention that will provide young people with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to compete at the highest level. And we're talking about over 80 countries participating.
But don't take our word for it. We invite you to view a promotional video of Lyon 2024.
It all starts with you, the ones who raise standards and pattern every culture, the ones who set the bar high and spread excellence with their hands and their minds. You are the landscapers, the chemists, the welders, the game designers, and many more. It all starts with you. From the very moment you commit, you keep following your dreams, empowered by your skills. So come and join us here in France. The land of passion, know-how, and creativity. World Skills Competition 2024 is waiting for you in Lyon, the city of French art de vivre. Let's show the world the tremendous need for skills. World Skills Lyon 2024. Where there is a skill, there is a way.
Indeed, where there is a skill, there is a way. It's all about creating life-changing and meaningful opportunities for our young people. And so the road to Lyon 2024 begins now with our launch of the National Skills Competitions 2023. This undertaking will provide a platform for young people to showcase their skills on the national stage. But not only that, we will seek to raise awareness about the skills that are in demand, the skills that are now, the skills that are new and emerging, and the skills for the future. Over the period May 29 to June 2, we will be showcasing skills from 35 areas, and we expect that 230 competitors will converge for competition at a Kingston venue. We're looking to attract a little bit over 20,000 visitors and 100 volunteers.
The future of work is digital and automation. With the leveraging of technology, this phenomenon has superimposed on traditional skills and making technical skills now become more relevant and efficient and place higher value on the quality of our graduates and the skill sets they enter the industry with.
Can we skip to the good part?
Is the sector of creative arts and fashion. Jamaica has a rich tradition in the cultural and creative sectors because of our history, how we celebrate, the affirmation of our people, and our story. UNESCO, in fact, estimates that Jamaica's cultural and creative industry provides $2.2 billion annually. It represents 3% of employment and 5.2% of the nation's GDP. Given this fact, we want to ensure more people are exposed to this sector to capitalize on the opportunities that exist. The skills presented in this area are fashion design technology, graphic design technology, and visual merchandising.
Our next skill is that of construction. And of course, you would agree, for anything to happen in skill, there's a need for facility, space, design, aesthetics, and the environment integration. This construction skill sector, which is a major force behind the economic growth and development for all developed and developing countries, contribute and impacts global GDP at advanced level. Through the advent of things such as 3D and 4D, construction has advanced over the years, and some of the programs we are introducing this year, in our national skills competition, will stimulate the minds of our youth and influence their choice in career. The skills presenting are construction, concrete work, digital construction, electrical installation, electronics, mechanical engineering CAD, plastering, and drywall systems, plumbing, wall and floor tiling, and renewable energy. And it's important that we spend some time to understand how the integration of these skills are leading to green, enhancing and enabling green economies all over the world. When you talk about things like mechanical engineering CAD, influenced by reverse engineering, we now see where we're taking traditional skill sets, we add the digital and automated component and make them become more efficient and more influential and stimulating to the minds of our youths through graphics and 3D, and of course, building modeling, which is now a fast-growing skill set. So these skills integrated will be featured in our construction skill sets at the National Skills Competition.
We spoke earlier that the future of work is digital and automation. Well, this next sector is essential. It undergirds that and underpins that because ICT, information communication technology, is where it all begins. This is the sector that will impact all other sectors. So when you talk about education, when you talk about medicine, when you talk about engineering, manufacturing, ICT, that insertion of ICT is what is going to make it emerging and advanced. And so as the world converges on rapid computing and high-speed communications, ICT will impact and influence all other sectors. So naturally, this is an area of strong focus for us. The skills being presented in this area are information networking cabling, IT software solutions for business, mobile applications development, mobile robotics, and coding.
And to truly embrace the fourth industrial revolution, this sector, the manufacturing engineering sector, has transformed the world. And when you think of programs such as mechatronics, which have about 5 traditional skill sets wrapped up in that one program, the electronics, the mechanical, the design, the mechanical engineering CAD, and programming, you understand how it's influencing the efficiency of machines and the production and in the manufacturing plants and production plants all over. Up to electronic technology was introduced in Jamaica for the very first time anywhere in the Western Caribbean, and we represented in Kyoto, Japan, and we were placed 5th of all the nations that participated there as a developing country and an area that is booming. We stimulate numerous networks and associations because of the craft and confidence that our competitor embraced that skill set there with. And of course, welding. And later on, we'll tell you about digital welding. That's where the emphasis is now. We have one of the latest invention, designed and built in 2022, Vertex 360 by Lincoln, in our training facilities here at Hartrust NSTA, where a trainee, a student, can now be exposed to digital welding, where the very beads, the seams, and the facets that make up the techniques, whether it's 3G, 6G, can be seen on a computer anywhere while the student is doing that for evaluation and as summary assessments and so on. So those are the kind of technologies that we are implementing and showcasing this year. And of course, the traditional welding will be there as well.
Our next featured sector is logistics. In 2027, the worldwide logistics market is expected to be worth over 12.9 billion US dollars. It is said that if Jamaica can take even a modest share of this value, then our GDP would expand by a little over 1%. Jamaica enjoys a particularly strong global network, and its infrastructure and logistics industries are seen as key growth areas for the nation's economy. Jamaica, as a result, is strategically positioned as the 4th node in the global logistics chain after Rotterdam, Dubai, and Singapore, and most recently had an opportunity to participate at Invest Jamaica, and our Prime Minister dared us and indicated, actually gave us a charge that we should really be the first in that node and not the fourth node. The skills being presented in this sector are freight forwarding and supply chain management. Social and personal services is our next competition sector. The research is showing that customer loyalty is the foundation of the beauty, tourism, and hospitality businesses. And how this is developed is through trust, and that is evolving to be more technology focused and automated. So a strong online presence for this sector is a must because it is based on trends people see on social media, and other clients will choose based on that. These are the skills being presented for this sector: beauty therapy, hairdressing, and health and social care.
We are journeying on a road to Lyon 2024, and France is the home of cooking. It would be remiss of us not to develop and implement our gastronomy industry.
Yes.
Our tourism culture is rich, not because our people are warm and welcoming, but also the taste of our food leave that memory on the palates of our guests and visitors that comes to our shore. The skills we are introducing for the sector are patisserie and confectionery, restaurant service, bakery, hotel reception, and cooking.
Jamaica also aims for its agriculture sector, which is the next featured sector in 2023, for a rapid development of the industry through various technologies and the participation of a new generation of farmers. So that's a call on our young people. And so this is quite fitting for us to be showcasing and promoting this particular sector in this way. And so the skill being presented from agriculture is landscaping and gardening, but not to worry, because agriculture is properly represented as it relates to the skills for demonstration. Of course, we can't leave out the little ones. The children are the future. So we want to ensure that we lay that solid foundation for a skilled workforce and a skilled future. So our primary to grade 9 school-aged children will also be given an opportunity to present their skills in the following areas: makeup artistry, painting and decorating. Young coders will be on display, and of course in the area of mobile robotics.
So we have covered all the competition-related skills that make up the 35 mentioned. However, in addition to those, we will also be facilitating a number of demonstration skills. Yes, the future skills in demand is very important. And so we will be showcasing those skills that are new and emerging, those we are implementing, those we are developing, so that the youths that come for over that 4 or 5 day period can be inspired and influence their career lines. The skills we'll be introducing are 3D printing, hydroponics, aquaponics, greenhouse technology, mixology, live cooking, drone technology, animation, and the big ones, electric vehicle technology. Digital welding will be on showcase at the National Skills.
All right. The next featured area of the skills presentation over that 5 days is Jamaica's absolute favorite, and we call it Try a Skill. This will give our observers an opportunity to actually try their hand at a skill. And so the areas presented in this Try a Skill segment is nail technology, hair braiding, floor tiling, block laying, grafting and propagation, I beg your pardon, lighting technology, and cupcake making.
Over the course of 4 days, there will not only be competitions, but there will also be an opportunity for our young people to exercise social integration. Our youth forum, leaders summit, to integrate with business leaders, government representative, educational representative, will take place to inspire their understanding of what TVET is all about and how they can build sustainable career and understand national policies on TVET.
Dwayne, in fact, the youth voice is a critical voice because it influences national policy and it gets them engaged in another level on another platform. This particular platform
Definitely.
will allow for that. So, Dwayne, can we skip to the good part?
I would think so. Sure, Stacey, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you our Leon 2024 roadmap.
Part.
Okay, so on screen, that's our map. Starting today, January 20, we open for applications. We can't have a competition without applicants. And that's why you're here, because we want all Jamaicans of the age requirements, and they are outlined when the link is given, to apply for the National Skills Competition to the skill of their choice. Right? That will close on February 4. We'll do our evaluation or ratification, and we will move to April, where we do the necessary preparations for our national skills elimination over the period April 3 to 5. The necessary criteria, the age limits, the skill sets are all prescribed and outlined in the application format, as well as the contacts. And this is important because we want to showcase the talents and skills of our youth such that we can do the necessary development and guidance before the national skills competition is staged. And so we will move to May 29 to June 2, where we'll stage the national skills competition. And the numbers we mentioned earlier, approximately 230 competitors and over 100 experts will be developed, trained. We'll have chief experts, we'll have judge, we'll have the different evaluating bodies from the industries and from the government agencies, as well as volunteers locally and internationally, to ensure that we run a smooth competition where there is equity and, of course, integrity in the choices and selections that are made, and also the awards that are given. We will adopt the World Skills International evaluation system, computer information system, to ensure that the accuracy is there. Just to enlighten you that the measurement system for World Skills has a scale that starts to medal at 700 and about 700 points and above. And Of course, at 700, a competitor may be awarded or earn a Medal of Excellence, and this represents that that competitor would have demonstrated more than 50% of the international aligned competence level for that criteria, and anything above that could see them receiving medals such as bronze, silver, and gold, so that their skill sets are well represented. And also, as a brand, World Skills International monitors our activities, our competitions, and so on, and that lends us a lot of opportunity for things to come in the near future. Then we will move right thereafter further into June, where we'll do another level of ratification. We will select the best of the best that was demonstrated there, and we will put them in a pool. We will train and we'll develop over the next 14 months, from July to August 23 to August 24, and to ensure that by March 2024, we would have selected again the best of that subset to ensure that the necessary skills aligned to the international standard are demonstrated clearly. And we have many strategies in place to achieve this. And most importantly, we have partnership with many countries across the globe. And what has been promised to us and what we are seeing so far, we have in excess of 10 countries that have given commitment to either come on our shores to help with the development or receive us on their shores to facilitate development of Jamaica goals to develop skills agenda, not just for the competition, but the whole agenda to build capacity with technology for the necessary skills right here in Jamaica. And then we will move into, of course, Leon in September 2024, where we will have a team by then and a delegation that has been selected, vetted, and of course properly evaluated to represent the best of Jamaica and take the medals this time around. Ladies and gentlemen, you can feel free to refer to this on our website as we move forward. Thank you. Steve.
Thank you.
I just wanted to plug, Mrs. Smiley Green, that Ben, you failed to mention that the Heart Trust is the first institution to bring electric vehicle training in the Western Caribbean. So I just want you to plug that a little bit more for our colleagues, because it's very important that we understand the work of the trust and where we're going in terms of developing our young people and advancing the economy, because skills are the currency of the future, and it is the way to future-proof this economy. So just tell us a little bit more about that.
Definitely, Doc, and thank you for that plug-in there. One of the things we must understand, and all the summits that have been held all over the world for the past 12 months, whether in Egypt or Thailand, the focus has been on the green economy. Energy efficiency is important, and it's not just in building, it's not just in our lighting system, but in our vehicle systems as well. And electric vehicle is one of those phenomena that will help to neutralize the cost associated with combustible machines, not just the vehicles, but most importantly, it also enhances our environment and allows us to live a little longer. Because the burning of carbon emissions, what you'll find out from the G7 countries now, everyone have a goal to reduce global emissions, and they have to report coming out of Paris Agreement some years ago, and implementing electric vehicle is one of those objectives to enable that. We here in Jamaica, we are implementing it because we believe that the technology is important, that our youths understand that the future that they plan for, that this is one of those strategies that will enable them to realize their objectives. And so we are now into hybrid vehicles. That is where you have shared combustion and electric. And we are moving that into complete electric, where your vehicles are driven by 2 electric motors. Right? And of course, the battery system is what we are going to be intensifying our training, because that is what will secure our lives when we step behind the wheels of those vehicles, and to understand how to do their tests and their checks, because a lot of us here drive. Don't check up on batteries. We check gas, but we don't check up on battery. Only when it dies. But now we're going to have to change the culture through this training system. And what we have done with the partnership with JPS, we have trained a number of our instructors, and as we speak today, we have them in a community of practice from yesterday and today at Jagas, to ensure that the standards for which they will be delivered are properly aligned, that there is consistency across the system when we roll out this training across 3 or 4 institutions, initially here in Jamaica, and we will move rapidly, Doc, to implement others as a way to go. I see Mr. Malava smiling, giving us
Yes.
right.
Yes.
But definitely that is one to look out for, and we are embracing it fully. And don't worry, Jamaica have a rich history of competent electricians and electrical engineers. That's one of the areas we have never failed, because in 1952 we established a Lighting Act to ensure that electricians are licensed and governed as an industry within our laws and practices, and that is a solid foundation.
That's right. That's right.
Significantly to that through our training.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So in short order, we will have.
I think we need full attention before you make this
full
announcement,
attention,
MD.
please. So in short order, Director Robertson and team, the trust will have 3 electric vehicles in its fleet. Thank you. All right.
Thank you so much, team. And what a journey they would have taken us on, ladies and gentlemen. You now know where we're going after we open our applications today. And for persons who are interested in applying right across the education system, from the primary level up to the tertiary level, our application portal is now open, so persons may go to our website, heart-nsta.org, and you can click on our promotions tab on that website, and it will take you straight to our application form. You may also click on the news tab on the corporate website, and that will also give you a link where you can fill out your application online, and of course we will do the necessary processing and elimination to get you into competition for May of this year. We're at the point, ladies and gentlemen, where we're going to be taking your questions. So if you have follow-ups, clarity that you need, any questions that you want to pose to members of our panels, as we ensure that you leave with the full understanding of this world skills journey that we're taking you on, now is your opportunity to do so. You may raise your hands to be acknowledged, and you will be provided with a roving microphone for those of you in the room, so that you can pose your questions to members of the panel. We also have other team members of the Heart NSTA Trust in our audience who we may rely on, should the need arise, to assist with our responses. So I see Alexander from Nationwide. Please go ahead.
Hi again. Good morning. Excuse me. Thank you for inviting me to the event. Very, very informative. Really enjoyed it. As a person who, did bakery at Heart, big fan of Heart.
Wow. Lovely.
I really have just 2 questions, though. The first one touches upon the skills training and filling the gaps that are in society. Minister of Health, I believe it was, Christopher Tufton, Dr. Tufton, over the past few months has been stating that there's a shortage of skilled workers in certain fields, and there may be a need to bring foreign workers in to fill those gaps. Just wondering if the Heart Trust, how they are hoping to meet that challenge, how they're hoping to fill those skill gaps, particularly in the area of construction, I believe. But the second question, something you had touched upon, sir, how is it that we can change the perception of Heart? How is it that we can change Heart how it's viewed. So it's not viewed as the skills training is not viewed as something as a option of last resort, but something that is seen as something that, and I hate to be elitist classes here even, but something that your traditional middle class, upper class parents are going to say, yes, child, go to Hart, learn a skill. This is not something to be shrugged at. How can we ensure Hart is not viewed as the red-headed stepchild, for want of a better word?
Brilliant questions, and thank you so much. I'm going to examine the last one first. And it is a clear and present reality. And that is why we're here today having a press launch for the National Skills Competition, because we recognize that there is a disconnect in the public space. And it didn't just start yesterday, it started years ago, and we know the history of the divide, the two-tiered approach with the academics versus TVET. And that narrative has been pushed right throughout our country, throughout our education system, the way we communicate with even our own children, you know, as parents, and where we want them to go. We insist on the pathway of the medicine and the law and you know, those traditional areas that we have lauded so much over the years. But we are fast recognizing, and the way to change the narrative is exactly what we are doing now. The Trust is that organization that has been set up to drive technical and vocational education and training. And we recognize that we have to take that narrative and help to re-educate Jamaica so that we understand that STEM, all of those areas, it is not that academics and TVET are mutually exclusive. You need the same kind of base, right? So it's not a case where you can't read and write properly, so you go to Hart. That can't work anymore, because if you heard the skills that we have been talking about up here, up to electronics, robotics, come on, you need a proper base, a proper educational base in order for you to advance in any area. And so basic reading and writing is not confined to academics, and if you can't do that, then you move across TVET. So we have started to re-educate Jamaica, and the purpose of this, the launch of this National Skills Competition, is to help Jamaica to understand that skills are the currency of the future. Long gone are the days when this two-tiered approach would triumph. It is not happening in Finland, it is not happening in Australia, it is not happening in Germany, and it is not happening in England. We are at the stage now where we need to let go. And so the pathway approach, we have to reorient that. We have to reorganize and reimagine how that is preached to our students and to our parents. You go the path of a skill because that is what you want to do. You go the path of academics because that is what you feel more inclined to do. It is not that you are less than why you have taken that path. The Trust has certainly not been pushing that, because our programs are robust. They are rigorous. As a matter of fact, the complaints that you would get is that they are too robust and too rigorous. So if it is that we are benchmarking against international standards, there is no way that a lesser cousin can survive in Hart Trust. And in order for you to be so good at, to be such an excellent electrician, as Bent would have indicated a while ago, that is no simple feat, right? In order for you to be an excellent plumber, and you and I know what it costs if we have a leak and we have to get a plumber in, yes, and the kind of monies we have to pay should be telling us that this is not a lesser path, right? And until we understand that as Jamaicans, when you look at the work that's taking place in Ebony Park in terms of the agro-processing and the different products that they are making that are benchmarked against international standards, these are trainees doing this who chose the path of skills, who were not pushed in the path of skills because some people believe that they were not capable, but they are following their dreams. And we have a generation now who will not be listening to this path of medicine law. They are following their dreams. They have a passion. And as parents, a parent myself, parents in the room, parents across Jamaica, let us support the vision and the passion of our children, and let us not be part of perpetuating that narrative of the path of medicine and law, because even though they are necessary and they will never go away, we know that what the plumber and the electrician and the beauty therapist and the hairdresser and the nail technician makes per month, we know if we should measure that against the traditional areas, then we can have a different conversation. So it is up to us, and the trust has started, and we're going to be very deliberate in pushing that right across the country and the Caribbean. We're envied across the Caribbean. We're envied across the Caribbean. So why should we keep on holding on to that narrative of skills being second rate? It is not second rate. It's the currency of the future. And I'm saying, if we are serious about future-proofing this economy, we're going to have to get serious about not only investing in skills, but speaking the right narrative around them. In terms of the first questions about the skills gap, certainly we would have seen that right across the media, and indeed, the data does not lie. There is a shortage of skills, there is a shortage of labor, but what we have to examine, we have to go a little deeper and look at what skills, and why, and the level of skills. The trust is very, very clear on its demand, SD Gittins, and its supply. So we know exactly what we push out. We train at a particular level, right? So is it that it is the trust that would be responsible for this shortage? Let's take, for example, software engineering. Software engineering, that's at a different level than where it is at the trust. We train technicians. So we push out technicians. We know what that supply is. So there is no shortage per se of technicians. Where is the shortage? Engineers. But we do not train engineers, right? So what we have to look at as a country, all of the players in the field, where is that data in terms of the supply? We have UWI, we have NCU, we have the UTech, we have the CMU, we have the different tertiary institutions, we have the private entities. All of them are training. Where is that supply data going? If we are able to pool and to call that supply data, we'd have a better idea in terms of what we're pushing out and what's really short from what's not, right? The healthcare industry, we also train up to a particular level, right? Allied health. So where is the shortage? Is it in allied health, or is it in the practical nursing, which would not be the area that the trust touches? You see, so that is the kind of conversation, and I welcome it. I open it for us to broaden the conversation and to get to the real core data to see really where we are missing. But the trust, if it is that there's a gap, that we are responsible for the particular level, we are ready, we are enabled, we are equipped to pull those individuals together and to get the training going and to produce the very best for Jamaica. So I'm going to hand over to SD Gittins to weigh in a little bit more on question one, where the skill shortage is concerned. Over to you, SD.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ingleton, and good morning, everyone. So as it relates to the skills shortage, we do have a shortage. Construction industry was referenced. We do train for the construction industry. In fact, we graduated over 4,700 persons for the construction industry last year. We have over 2,300 persons in training right now in construction. Some of the things that we have done specifically for that industry and for all the other industries is for us we have started having shorter programs. Traditionally, our programs are 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, and sometimes longer. But what we have realized is that the industries are calling for persons now. So by shortening the programs, we have not reduced the quality, we have not compromised in any way. Construction, for example, we have a course called General Construction. In General Construction, you learn plumbing, tiling, masonry, steel fixing. All of these are unique jobs that can be separated, certified, and persons move into the workplace immediately. And so what we have done, we have broken the qualifications into unique jobs that are stackable, so at the end you still get the full NVQJ in general construction, but when you're finished with plumbing, you can go and do plumbing, and you get released right into industry immediately. Tiling, immediately. Masonry, immediately. Steel fixing. So sometimes we're our own enemies in that we are packing so much into a vocational area, and the persons are in training or they drop out of training because we have them for too long. And so we have realized that, and so that is one of the strategies that we're using, and it is working really, really well. We're getting trained, competent persons into industry much, much, much faster. Another thing that we're looking at is the partnerships. We're embracing a lot more persons, industry partners, as well as other training providers to ramp up training in certain areas for which we have great demand. For example, on-the-job training is now a feature that HEART has prioritized. So rather than industry waiting for us to deliver in 12 months, we will provide the basic, the theory, in 3 months, sometimes less, and then push them into industry for them to be trained, developed, and we continue on the job, and we continue to monitor them throughout for certification. We also are recognizing prior learning. What we do know for sure is that many persons are trained and they're skilled and they're competent, but they do not have certificates. They're not certified. And so we have a mobile assessment unit that goes into communities, the nooks and crannies of Jamaica, to find these people, assess them where they are, and provide the certification that is needed. What we are also cognizant of is that many Jamaicans, we know, education makes you trainable. And we know that we have a lot of highly skilled people who are just not fully literate, not fully numerate, can't really get to the level of proficiency in that short time. And so what we have done, City and Guilds has a program, a skills proficiency program. So NVQJ, you have to get all the theory, you have to have all of the competencies in that. The numeracy and literacy has to be so solid that you have to pass that component to get certified. City and Guilds does have a skills proficiency that we have partnered with them to deliver. And so those young men who got trained by their uncles and someone else in the community who is not fully proficient in the literacy and numeracy components, we are able to certify them through that partnership with City and Guilds until we develop them. We're not going to leave them as illiterate or semi-literate. Remember that we have Jamaican Foundation for Lifelong Learning that was integrated into the trust. So we're taking them along the full gamut from illiterate to literate, but we can't wait for that. And so we'll certify them in the skills proficiency while we develop the literacy and numeracy components so that they can advance to higher levels of training. In addition to that, we have to remember that HEART and STA Trust is not the only institution in the ecosystem that needs to do something about this. Many times we train enough, we certify enough in certain areas, but remember, when we train and certify a youth or anyone in the space, they need to get decent work. They need to get work that allows them to take care of their families. And if the employers don't pay them enough, and Cayman is going to pay them enough, or Canada is going to pay them enough, or US is going to pay them enough, they're going to go. And we encourage migration in Jamaica. We're not saying you don't go. We have a migration policy that supports migration. And so we're saying everyone in the ecosystem have to understand their role. So employers, as they're saying we need to pay more, they also need to be saying we need to train more. They also need to be saying, am I giving my worker a livable wage? Can I keep him employed? The tourism industry, for example, we train a lot of persons in tourism. Last year alone, we trained over 7,000 persons in tourism-related skills. 2 years before that, we were training up to 9,000 a year in tourism-related skills. We had a job fair, a singular job fair last year for tourism, for the cruise ship. It wasn't last year, was this? Oh, last year. This financial year, but last year, calendar year. And we had a job fair because we had a recruiter who asked us to help. And in that singular job fair, we had over 4,000 trained Jamaicans who were looking to leave. One day they came, over 4,000 came to one job fair. So it's not a training issue only. We have to look at what we can do to retain our workers once they are trained.
So that should help.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ingleton and Mrs. Gittins, our Senior Director for Strategic Planning and Research. I see Alexander has taken his seat, which means he's quite satisfied with the response.
All right.
Do we have another question, ladies and gentlemen? Yes,
Sure,
please
go ahead, Dr. Carr.
My concern has to do with, I wanted to have a feel for your transition from 230 participants, 35 skills, to when you actually go to Leon's 2024. What the size of that crew that you will be taking to Leon, and
Go
what
ahead.
skill areas?
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, and I'll just reinforce again, that the evaluation system and the measurement system for WorldSkills International, once we enter the results and the performance of the competitors, it gives us an analysis report. And each criteria, there's a measurement, whether it's in decimal or units, and it adds up to that 700-point scale. Now, for the 35 skill areas, once there are areas that perform at a certain level, it means that it has the potential to brand Jamaica and potential to gain a medal. So we will cream those that have met the WorldSkills International standards, and those that we can develop, and we make a recommendation for the areas that can best represent Jamaica on the international scene. That, of course, Dr. Ingleton would have mentioned, you have a national organizing and a national advisory council, and the council will review our recommendations with the technical analysis and the benchmark, because when I think with WorldSkills International, we can see the performance of every country from the last competition, every competitor, their scores, their ranking, and we can analyze and compare that as a country and see what our best perspective and opportunity to medal looks like. So we'll use that approach, and once that is done, of course, then we will select the final team. And of course, we always advise the nation of our decision, because it's part of the promotion campaign as well, that the industry and the stakeholders can support that movement to make it successful.
Thank you so much. And you'll be hearing more details in the media as we go along on the journey. That video that you would have seen, for example, just before Dr. Ingleton spoke, is part of the campaign that we will be rolling out in very short order. So you should be seeing that on television and on our social media pages. And as we get closer to national and international competition, we will be providing more details in the media. And of course, we will announce that final delegation before we head to Lyon, France.
Make it clear, as I said before, though Heart is the home of WorldSkills, we are not WorldSkills. And so we depend heavily on the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. We're going to need the support of the MOE like never before, so that we can have a wider group, a wider array of participants. We're also going to be depending on the universities. So we're calling on the University of the West Indies, the Caribbean Maritime University, the Northern Caribbean University, UTech. We're calling on industry. And so if you have persons who have certain skills and competencies, but they may not have gotten the recognition that they ought to have received, then they can come to Heart and we can do our assessment, and so they can be part of our delegation. We are looking to expand the WorldSkills movement in Jamaica so that we can really raise the profile. That's what's important, to raise the profile of skilled people and for them to understand how this can advance them socially and also economically for the Jamaican space. So we're calling on all those players to come together and support. And of course, we need our sponsors, Dr. Shimhugh. So we're going to be calling on the support of the big players in the field, the Digicel, the Flow, the Courts Jamaica, all the Grace Kennedy, all of these individuals to come on board and support our participants for Lyon 2024. So I'll take this opportunity, Mrs. Smiley Green, since I'm not seeing any more queue for questions to really thank this formidable team at Heart. Now, sometimes you may see faces and you may see faces in the media, but there is a team behind that engine of Heart. And I want to take this opportunity to highlight the work of the regional directors across the educational regions. They are here. All of them are here, and they work tirelessly to ensure that all of these things that we spoke about today came to fruition. And it's an excellent team. We have members here of the executive management team. I want to thank you as well. But I cannot, not single out the marketing and communications team. We have Mrs. Smiley Green here. We have manager Mr. Philander Neal, Mr. Julian Patrick, events officer, and some other individuals in the room who would have supported this really good team at the Trust. And I can say, not because Director Robertson is here, but we have an extremely strong board of the highest integrity. And I'll take this opportunity to highlight the work of Professor Wint in pulling the Trust together and ensuring that we have a framework for moving forward, our triple access strategy, and all of the things that he has been honing and ensuring that we do well is just absolutely brilliant. So we are poised. Yes, please, let's give him that support. So we are poised for great things, and the support does not stop there. It goes all the way up to our parent ministry, the Office of the Prime Minister, where we get sterling support from our Permanent Secretary Sewell. And so we are in a privileged position, and we do not take it lightly of the kind of work that we are already doing and what we need to do to advance and future-proof this economy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ingerton. Well said. And on behalf of your team, I want to say thanks for the kind sentiments that you would have given to all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you are wondering how you may qualify to enter this national skills competition, we're inviting you to go to our website, Heart NSTA Trust, to get the information regarding to your application form and to submit your application. But we want to take the opportunity just to indicate that in order for you to qualify, one of the main requirements, you will have to be between the age of 17 to 25, and you must be affiliated either with an institution across the education system or a company within the industry to be able to apply to become a competitor in our national skills competition for World Skills. So if you feel like you fit somewhere in that band, go right ahead, Heart-NSTA Trust, heart-nsta.org, and go to our promotions tab to fill out your application form there.
If you feel, all right?
Yes. And just to add on that line to Julia, if you permit me,
sure,
that we are also looking for experts from the industry to serve, because that is a key component of the success of this movement. Each year, when we train the competitors, it's the industry representative and experts who does the evaluation and analysis for us to ensure that the integrity and, of course, the competence is there. And so we want a wider pool. And for this year, World Skills has invited us to submit names of experts from our industries who can also contribute to the development of these standards and serve on the international scene as possible experts or volunteers from Jamaica in these competitions as well. So that's why it's a partnership, and we need the support from the industry as well. Julia.
Thank you, Mr. Bent, and I think that's a beautiful note for us to say it's a wrap. On behalf of the Heart NSTA Trust and World Skills Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for your time and your participation in this, our World Skills Jamaica National Skills Competition press launch, and we bid you adieu.
The Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's leading human development agency, is committed to advancing technical, vocational education and training and preparing the workforce with the requisite talent to drive the economy. Unleash your passion for skills today and build a future that will enable you to unearth limitless opportunities. Come to Heart for emerging and future skills that will catapult you to greatness. Find a skills pathway today. Where there's a skill, there's a way. The Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's lead.